On today's wrestling news, is Bray Wyatt's first feud been revealed?
A big old return happened on SmackDown.
The Usos have a big moment also on SmackDown.
And some huge Survivor Series matches have been confirmed, slight question mark on one of them.
Are you ready? Are you ready for the news time? Yes, my name is Phil Chambers and I'm joined by Gareth Morgan, and Salty Dog is also here to talk all things wrestling. But before we get into it, make sure you like the video, comment down below what you think of each of today's stories, subscribe to the channel, click the timestamps in the description to go to each story, and let's start the thing with Bray Wyatt. It was on SmackDown last night, quite obviously, but it's an interesting one, this one. It feels like maybe his first feud, or at least it's definitely the first time he's gotten physical since he returned, but maybe his first match back has been revealed. I don't quite know where this is going, but let me talk to you. Yeah. LA Knight was backstage being interviewed. He wasn't happy about being left out of the World Cup, basically, and then the sort of Wyatt flashes kept coming up on the TV screen behind him, and then he kind of turned off camera and told some kind of crew member to get that trash off the screen. And then when he turned back around, who was there right in front of him but Bray Wyatt himself? And he basically sort of said that, I can relate to all your anger and rage. I know what it takes to get respect, but he was wondering how far LA Knight is willing to go. And then LA Knight just kind of told him to go back to his romper room and start playing with his puppets and shove them anywhere he gets pleasure. But he didn't like it, so he headbutted him. So it does feel like Bray Wyatt's first mini feud, I guess, back from rejoining is going to be with LA Knight. And who the hell had that coming? Yeah,
was not at the top of my list, but now I feel like a fool for it not being, because hell yeah, it's going to be great. I think this will be great, because it's... You get the character of LA Knight who just doesn't give a toss about any of this, and you could see when the TV was flashing behind him, he was like, "What the heck? No, that's not happening in my interview. Stop it, turn it off." He just,
this is my time.
Yeah. It's I'm bigger than this, I'm bigger than all, and it's not, oh, I'm scared of spooky Bray. It's what the hell are you? I don't want to be dealing with you. You're annoying. It's that kind of energy, and I like that. It's a completely different twist that we've had on this kind of the Bray, I don't know, back and forths over the years where people are just terrified by the mystical Wyatt, and this, Knight just doesn't seem that arsed at all, which is fantastic for me. And I don't know if this is where we're going to go. I don't know where that first match would be. Maybe Survivor Series, maybe, I don't know what the one after that is, because I think Day One's been cancelled, hasn't it?
The
Rumble.
Cancelled Day One, so it's a long ass time.
Maybe.
Survivor Series or SmackDown.
Yeah, I mean, either or, really. I'm quite happy with that, but it seems like an easy one, because if Knight does lose, he's losing to Bray Wyatt. It's not the worst thing in the world, and Bray Wyatt gets a nice win over LA Knight. Yeah. So this is absolutely fine with me. It got a big old pop on the night. Everyone loved the fact that Bray Wyatt popped up to LA Knight. So bit more of this. Something that I'm not sure how much more I want of, though. Nice little segue there. Is there was a return last night, Phil, and I hate grappling on things straight away, okay, because I don't know how this is going to play out in a couple of weeks' time. It could be great, the spookiness may finally work, but we had Sarah Logan pop back with the Viking Raiders, because there was a match between Zelina Vega and B-Fab. They were going to have a match. It was going to be the Hit Row, Legado thing again, big rivalry, and before that could even happen, Sarah Logan popped up and said something like, "Valhalla is here, Valhalla has arrived," whatever it was, because there's been loads of Valhalla vignettes, obviously, on SmackDown over the last couple of weeks. Everything went red and spooky, and then the Viking Raiders attacked everyone, and then she attacked everyone, and then she did this weird thing. She did this and looked at the camera, and it was just all a bit... The energy I'm giving off to it now is kind of what it was like in the arena. It was a bit like, oh, okay, right, cool. So Viking Raiders are looking like they're going to take on the tag team division, which, to be honest, that tag team division looks stacked right now. So that could be quite exciting. And then Sarah Logan's going to go into that women's division and cause chaos, I'm assuming. I mean, there's a lot of different strands right now in that women's division on SmackDown, which is quite nice. There's a few little flickering feuds going on everywhere, but I just didn't get all that excited. And Michael Cole only realizing 5 minutes into the brawl that it was Sarah Logan just made me chuckle. It was like, oh, it's Sarah Logan. I was like, bro, from the second she arrived, I was like, it's definitely
her. We've been saying this for weeks, Michael Cole. We've been saying it for weeks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think with this one, I thought when Triple H took over, I thought maybe the Viking Raiders would be one of the ones that might be able to move away from the sort of Vikingness of them. I know they both really like Vikings. They both genuinely like Vikings. When we had them in WCPW, one thing they wanted to do while they were over in the UK was go see some Viking stuff. So they were asking where all the best Viking museums were. So they love this stuff. Yeah. But the vignettes about the Valhalla and the drinking and the fire and whatever it was kind of went on a little bit too long.
It felt very House of Black-esque of what they're doing as well right now. It's a lot of crossover.
And then I assumed Sarah Logan would have been some kind of manager, but now she's getting in ring, which I'm not against at all. No. I think it's fine. It's just, I don't know. It's just, I don't know whether this kind of package works for a team in this day and age.
Yeah.
Maybe it will. Maybe it'll play out and it'll be absolutely amazing. In ring, they are genuinely incredible.
Yeah.
They are some of the best wrestlers you could possibly imagine, especially for their size. It's absolutely ludicrous. They're fantastic. I love them very, very much. But it's just the packaging around everything that I'm not entirely convinced on yet. But I guess we'll have to wait and see.
When the lighting changes, I get nervous. That's all I'll say.
Yes.
That's where we're at.
Never worked since the days of Sin Cara and Bray Wyatt and every other time they've tried to do this weird lighting carrying across. They gave up on that pretty quickly. So we'll see. We'll have to wait and see. But it's nice to have them back on the TV at least, and there's definitely going to be some amazing matches that comes from it.
Exactly, so some positives there to be had, definitely.
Indeed, and speaking of the tag team division, look at us doing segues for days. The Usos, they went up against the New Day last night. Obviously, it was going to be the big match. Whoever wins was going to be the longest reigning tag team champions, because currently it's the New Day. And the Usos beat them in a hell of a match, because of course it was a hell of a match. It's always going to be a hell of a match. They never, ever have bad matches. They kind of caught Kofi Kingston in midair, hit him with the 1D to finish it. But the Usos win. They are going to go on to become the longest reigning WWE tag team champions on record. And so they're at 481 days now, and then they'll officially get the record on Monday for 483 days.
Still time over the weekend if somebody wants to have an impromptu match. You never know. Never know.
But I assume there's going to be some kind of big celebration on Monday on Raw with the Usos. But it was a great moment for the Usos. There is a little bit more about this that happened later on in the show, which you will be covering in a second. So I'll leave that for now.
Yes.
But yeah, great moment for the Usos. I think this is really well deserved.
Yeah, like you said, the match itself was electric. It was a big old war, and it opened up the show, and it was what it needed, really. It needed this status. These belts haven't felt this important in a long time. I mean, it's just been a great job, I think, all around with the way they've held them, the prestige that's come with them over the last couple of months. So this record now just puts them up another level. It just kind of makes that bloodline stable look even more impressive, and it doesn't really do an awful lot of damage to the New Day. I know they've lost that record, but it's still another incredible match to add to the back catalogue, and they've just proven that they can still go. So it's, absolutely fine with this. It was great. Something else that was great involving the bloodline was the ending of SmackDown, because we had a big old brawl with some brawling brutes. I know, go figure. Because they got in the ring. Roman was like, hey, you guys, you're really good. We're all really good. And you know what? For the first time, it seemed like he was about to acknowledge his cousins, right? We were that close. He looked like he was going to say, I acknowledge you. And then that bloody brawling brutes music came out. And Rich Holland came onto the ring and he was like, I don't like you brawling. No, we're brawling brutes. I don't like you bloodline people. I'm doing really well. And he said, we're going to finally even the numbers and fight you on fight night. And then Sheamus come down and his mic kept cutting out. So Sheamus was like, thing he said was like that. And then Roman was like, can't be speaking to you, mate, bro. What's going on? And then they started fighting. And the numbers game, obviously, started paying off for the bloodline. So then Drew McIntyre came down. And he was just like, Claymore kick to the face on everyone. And then he started fighting Solo Sikoa. And then he got booted in the face. And they were fighting. And they were still fighting. There was loads more fighting. And then SmackDown ended. So here's what I took from it. And here's what most people took from it. It's looking like this is going to be a Wargames match. All right? It's looking like you're going to get the bloodline taking on Drew and the Brawling Brutes and maybe someone else, maybe Kevin Owens, let's be honest. That's looking like the kind of the direction that we're going down for this. Also, Sami Zayn wasn't on SmackDown because Cole noted on commentary that he was dealing with personal matters, so hopefully everything's cool there with Zayn. Obviously, he wasn't at Crown Jewel because of we all know why. And then in terms of the other big thing that happened on SmackDown, in terms of like a Survivor Series development, if you will, is we've got the new number one contender for Ronda Rousey's SmackDown Women's Championship, because Shotzi won yet another six-pack challenge impromptu elimination contender match, because that's Triple H's answer to every time he needs a new contender for something, which is fine, is what it is. But she won it, and it was and she got backstage, and Emma said something about fancying Madcap Moss, and then she walked off, and then Shotzi was like talking smack about Ronda to Shayna Baszler, and she was like, say it to her face, turn around. Ronda was there like, and she got choked out, she passed out, and then Ronda said, clean up on aisle green. I don't know what to add to that, Phil.
Hell of a line.
Clean up on aisle green.
Hell of a line. Yep, add that to Jeff Jarrett's banana nose, and we've got a really great week.
It's been a week.
Zingers.
It's been a week. And it has. My goodness.
But yeah, in terms of the Bloodline in a Wargames match, you can't ask for anything bigger, really. It's going to be the first time all of the Bloodline, including Sami Zayn, have been in a match together.
No, so all of the Bloodline, Phil, is what you're saying. No, so not just including all of them. That they're all one now. That's all of the Bloodline.
However, they eventually get Kevin Owens in there, which they kind of, well, they just have to.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely have to. However they do that, don't really care. But it's going to be absolutely fire. The Brawling Brutes, just in that kind of an environment, is going to be really good fun anyway. Drew McIntyre likes kicking people's heads in. Yeah. Kevin Owens likes doing really stupid stuff on pay-per-view. And then you've just got the Bloodline. I mean, what's not to love? What's not to love?
Great. I'm genuinely really excited. I know I'll be very cynical about this stuff normally, but I'm a little bit giddy about this. Can't wait.
It's gonna be good. But let's move over to your Twitter questions to end the video, and I've gone for a bit of a AEW swing on the Twitter questions since we've had quite a WWE heavy news video.
Yeah.
So first up, from Sean Goodwin, it says, good morning, would you have Saraya win one of the major titles or just use her in big program matches? How would you use Saraya going forwards?
That is a tough one, because you see in it straight away from her first match, it doesn't even need a title, because you've got two massive names there. You can just probably get co-main event status.
Match in the women's division.
Yeah, they're probably going to get the co-main event, surely. Like for me, that's like probably the second most anticipated match for me on that card right now. Yeah. Is that going to be the same, depending on what other women she comes up against? Will she be able to do that against somebody who isn't a champion in AEW right now? I don't know. Depends who it is. Depends what the program is. If the program deserves it and doesn't need the title, then yeah, it's probably. I'd probably do similar to what they did with CM Punk. I know that had its ups and downs towards the end, but I think just having her kind of build herself back up and have these matches where she elevates other people in her process of getting kind of some reps in, I think that is pretty tried and tested. It seemed to work pretty well with her. She's not a Bryan Danielson who's just come straight out of a decent run in WWE to go straight into doing whatever the hell like he wants. Like, she's had a bit of time off, so she needs to kind of build herself back up with some trusted people who are not going to drop her on her neck. So yeah, no title for now for me.
Yeah, me neither. I think the biggest thing about AEW and their women's division is that they've only ever built stories around titles. They've never managed to do anything else outside of the title picture. I think this is a really, really good excuse to get out of that habit and start getting more matches on the cards and more positions for women on the card. And I think Saraya's perfect for that. And we've shown with this Britt Baker thing, it feels like the biggest thing in the women's division right now. Like, it's kind of overshadowing the title a little bit because the focus is put more on it. And it's kind of the like instant dream match that we'd think of when it comes to just putting Saraya into AEW. You'd like Britt Baker's like, she's the one, 100%.
And just think of
keep her out of the title picture.
And just think of the Sasha Banks Saraya match that's going to happen after that, when Sasha Banks walks out at the end of Full Gear, does a thing, and they have the match. That's going to happen. You heard it here first, folks.
But I would keep her out of the title picture for a while until eventually, months and months and months down the line, Jamie Hayter has the title, and she's had a bit of a run with it. And then you'd put Saraya versus Jamie Hayter. Whether you do that beforehand and Jamie Hayter beats her, and then Jamie Hayter goes on to win the title, and then later, then you do Saraya versus Jamie Hayter and Saraya wins. That's what I'd want to do.
Do it in the UK, Phil.
There you go. Do it at the UK pay-per-view next year.
Main event.
Saraya wins the belt.
There's your main event.
At the UK pay-per-view.
That'd be great.
It's easy, this.
Oh.
Tony, take notes. Easy
How do we follow that? That's...
But speaking of the women's division in AEW as well, Salad Makers Stan says, given the general lack of exposure and storyline development in AEW women's division, wouldn't it behoove GK to have a major women's tournament in the mold of the G1?
Ooh.
Would be an excellent foil for stories to unfold over the next year and create title opportunities for title opponents, for Tony Storm.
They've done tournaments in the past in that women's division, and sometimes they've worked. Some parts of the bracket have worked. It's helped develop storylines and further things and help elevate people. They have been proven to work, but then equally sometimes they've not, and they felt like an afterthought, and they've just been nudged onto a show and just not given barely any time. So it's tough. I think if they're going to really double down on it and give the matches within each kind of like table, whatever it is, and really double down on the whole stats part of it, because I think that's one of the great things about the G1. We see how many points people have got and things like that. I think if you really go for that and make it something compelling and new in the world of AEW, it could be great. But if you just kind of go, yeah, new thing for AEW, and just put it on Dynamite for 10 minutes, like if you do that, no one's going to care. So I think go for the former and not the latter.
Yeah, I think I'm amazed that the G1 format hasn't been moved over to like American wrestling yet.
It's great.
In any way, shape or form, especially like when AEW popped up and they were doing all the stats and the win-loss records and things. It seems like the absolute perfect fit for them within the company. But they always just do the single elimination like bracket style tournaments, which is great in itself. But like the G1's a very different thing. And I think if you were doing like a statement piece of, okay, we're gonna rebuild the women's division and like build it up to be as good as we possibly can be, like a G1 format, I think would be an absolutely amazing way of doing that. Getting loads of different matches throughout the card, get some new people in for it and things. I think that would be a great way of doing it personally.
And it's a way of,
like you say, you have to do it right, and you have to do it on like Dynamite in featured spots.
And it's a way of getting those big swerve losses in there as well, those big upsets. You can do that without completely derailing someone's tournament, which is one of the cool things about G1. You can have somebody who's a massive underdog suddenly beat the best person in the company, but then that best person in the company still qualifies for the next round. It works. It's brilliant. It's great.
Yeah, amazing. It's not been done yet. Absolutely amazing. But final question comes from someone with a bunch of triangles in their name. At David.
Not even trying now, Phil.
22. At David Eric 22, I got there. He says, when AEW comes to the UK next year, what are the chances of Hobo Joe getting a match on Dark or Dark Elevation? Perhaps in a tag team with Simon Miller. I'll take that one. Very, 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 very slim to none.
Thanks, Phil. Thanks. You lost me there very quickly. The look of...
However, I will say Simon Miller did shoot his shot on Ups and Downs for Dynamite. He's putting it out there. He wants a match. Why the hell wouldn't he?
Get him in there.
Come on, AEW.
All Atlantic Miller.
Definitely not with me, but definitely with Simon Miller.
Get it done. Why not, man? I mean, that'd blow if there was a roof on Craven Cottage, that would blow it off.
Absolutely. Hashtag get Miller on AEW Dark. Probably a better hashtag. I'm going to sneeze.
You're allergic to quality booking, aren't you?
And on that note, let's end the video. I have been Phil Chambers. If you want, you can follow us over on Twitter. You can follow me at Phil My Chambers, and you can follow Gareth
at GMorgan0. Okay, sorry, I'm catching it now as well. There we go. You know it. You know already. It's fine.
Yep, it's fine. And you can follow all of us at WhatCulture WWE. I'm going to end the video before I sneeze again. Ups and Downs for Rampage and SmackDown are coming up, so check them out and watch them and watch more videos and subscribe and let us know in the comments section below who you want Simon Miller to fight in AEW when they come to the UK next year, and then tweet loads at AEW telling them to book it, because they need to book it, let's face it.
They do.
But most importantly, have yourselves a bloody good day.